Good evening. Can I ask you all, please, to stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance. That sounds a lot better when a big crowd says it together. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's town board meeting. It is June 11th, 2024. As much as you may find our agenda very interesting, we're going to jump around to get right to the highlight of the evening. Chief, do you want to start?
Yeah, please. All right, yeah. Well, please,
Come on. Uh-oh. Oh, we're on, okay. Honorable Supervisor Fulgenzi, Honorable Town Board members, this evening's a happy occasion, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. In a few moments, I'm going to ask you to authorize a promotion in the police department. Officer John Bacardi started his career with the DEP Police. In February of 1998, he was hired by the Mount Pleasant Police Department, his entire career so far in the Patrol Division. During his time in Patrol, Officer Bacardi distinguished himself as an informal leader. He showed initiative and his ability to take control in high-stress situations. He prioritized fitness and early on was selected to become a defensive tactics instructor and a general topics instructor. He was a member of the department's dive team until it was decommissioned a few years ago. Officer Bacardi started a journey in 2014 to secure his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Mercy College. This is not an easy accomplishment when you're working full-time. He was successful. In 2017, he approached me about attending a police bicycle training class as the local police academy was short instructors. So I was trying to be progressive and I let him go. His powers of persuasion were great. And when he finished his training, the department had a used bicycle courtesy of the city of Yonkers, and Officer Bacardi was the bicycle officer. So he rode for several events and at the local shopping centers, keeping an eye on traffic, and the feedback that I got was tremendous. So based on that, we expanded the bicycle unit, and it was actually led by Officer Bacardi at that time. There was uniform selection, there was a lot of stuff, but we ended up purchasing a couple of bicycles, but that's just the kind of initiative that he's taken over his career. In August of 2018, Officer Bacardi was promoted to the rank of sergeant. He took this responsibility very seriously. He again used his skills of persuasion, and I agreed to the creation of an incident response team, which is not quite a SWAT team, but it's officers that meet a specific criteria and they get highly trained. And he took the lead on that. The IRT team today trains our school resource officers. Sergeant Bacardi was able to secure training time and a training instructor from the FBI that does their SWAT. And so our officers who also work in patrol are some of the most highly trained, and other departments ask us if they can join in on the training. So it's been a tremendous success. In 2019, Sergeant Bacardi enrolled in Pace University for his master's degree in public administration and homeland security, and he completed that program. In addition, in the last couple of years, he attended the FBI LEADA training, which is police executive training, and he passed with flying colors. He's been the department's point person and assisted me in the development of our brand new body-worn camera system, or program, I should say, and he's been working his butt off consistently. Thank you, Michelle. As a lieutenant, he'll oversee this important program and take over training responsibilities for the department. And he made me promise that he'll be intimately working with patrol at the same time, so I think that'll be a good fit. Incidentally, he scored a 97 on the lieutenant's exam, which is not easy to do. He crushed it. All that said, I'm truly honored and to respectfully recommend the promotion of Sergeant John Bacardi to the rank of lieutenant and ask for the board's authorization. Thank you.
Councilman Saliano?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a resolution to promote John Bacardi to lieutenant. I respectfully ask the board for a motion of approval, please.
Tom, this would be a combination of adding the position and also the promotion, just so we're all on the same page. Okay?
Correct. Amendment. So moved.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, well, there was a question whether we were going to swear him in, because he's already a sworn police officer, but he's going to get sworn in again, just so you know, so.
We're waiting for
You want to small here so you can face everyone. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I,
I,
John Bacardi,
John Purdy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the rules and bylaws of the Mount Pleasant Police Department,
and the rules and bylaws of the Mount Pleasant Police Department,
and to uphold my duties as lieutenant
and to uphold my duties as lieutenant
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Continue your good work.
Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, so the supervisor asked if I had a new badge, and I don't. I have a new a really old badge. There's a lot of history in this. I was cleaning it with toothpaste and a toothbrush before, just so you know. And I'm going to ask his family to come up and please pin him, but don't injure him, all right, because I need him.
Oh, don't. We're gonna let them get some pictures.
You want a pair of pictures? Yeah, family picture. All right, great. The last thing is, do we need him to sign the book? All right. In order to make it official, he's got to sign the book, so, and it's all over. So the supervisor cordially invites everyone to stay for the rest of the town board meeting if you'd like to, but at this point, if you wanted to exit so they can carry on with business, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Oh, that's his dad, and that's his mom, Phyllis. They come to my church. I'm
We have people here.
What's today's date? June? June what?
11?
June 10th? June 10th, right?
It's cold in here, right?
It's cold? I think it's nice. I think it's nice.
I brought a sweater.
I'm a cold-hearted woman, so, you know, it doesn't bother me.
Very good. Thank you all. Now we're going to move on to a public hearing, and I'm going to ask our town clerk, Emily, to read the notice.
Notice of public hearing by the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant to consider a proposed local law amending Town Code Chapter 196 to adjust tax benefits for senior citizens, disabled persons, as well as volunteer fire and ambulance personnel. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held before the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant, Town Hall, 1 Town Hall Plaza, Valhalla, New York, 10595, on the 11th day of June 2024. The 11th day of June 2024 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of considering a proposed local law amending Town Code Chapter 196 to adjust tax benefits for senior citizens, disabled persons, as well as volunteer fire and ambulance personnel. Please take further notice. A copy of the proposed local law is available for review in the town clerk's office. Please take further notice that at the public hearing upon said proposed local law, an opportunity to be heard in regards thereto will then and there be given to those favoring passage of such proposed amendment and also those opposed thereto.
Thank you. Before we open up to the public, I'm going to ask our assessor, Jim Timmings, to help us understand it a little bit better. It could be confusing when you read it.
Good evening, Supervisor, board members. I'm the assessor in the town, and one of the responsibilities we have in the office is administering real property tax exemptions of a various sort. We are updating these exemptions in all three cases. The senior low-income exemption, the persons with disabilities and low-income exemption, and the volunteer fire persons ambulance workers exemption. I'll proceed through each one individually, and they'll be available for questions for anybody if you have any. The senior exemption, last year we raised the income limit. It's a set scale. It was from $29,000 and below, 50% exemption, to a maximum of $37,004 for a 5% exemption. Those are 5% increments. That was changed last year and increased significantly to $50,000 income for a 50% exemption and $58,004 for a 5% exemption, again with the 5% increments for exemption purposes. All this is available in publication form, so I don't expect you to remember all these numbers offhand. But at any rate, they're available online at the town website or at my office. This year, we want to update that same income scale for the persons with disability and low income. That has historically been the case. Both exemptions use the same income scale, so that's a fairly straightforward change. Then the additional change for both of those exemptions, the state allowed a more refined or a simplified definition of what is considered income for the purposes of those exemptions, and so we're looking to adopt that as well. It's pretty straightforward. It is, I think, once we get used to it, a more simple manner of calculating your income for the purposes of the exemption, relying primarily on the 1040 form and then minimal one-page supporting documents like a 1099 from Social Security, for instance. Other items would be right on the face of the 1040 form, so it's easier to calculate what in fact is income without having people to provide reams of documentation as to what came from where. So hopefully that will be an improvement. The other exemption is the volunteer fireperson's exemption. And this change is brought about by the state sunsetting the current exemption. In the past, I'd say 8 years or so, when they've had the volunteer fireperson's exemption at the state level, they basically wrote the law to accommodate or to fit individual counties. And then each county had particular parameters that they wanted to see in their volunteers exemption law. They've changed that. That's going to sunset in December of 2025. And the new law will just be one code section, and it will be the same for everybody in the state, with the adoption options being levels of service. Used to be 5 years service required, and that your primary residency would be the property that would get the exemption. That's changed to 2 years or up to 5 years, and the exemption remains the same at 10%. You can adopt less, but I would suggest, since the law was changed to encourage volunteerism, you stick with the 10% exemption and go with the 2 years service requirement. There are some changes also as far as lifetime exemption. Volunteers who have 20 years or service more would automatically qualify for a continuation of that exemption at lifetime, as long as they own the property. Let's see, there's an exemption for someone who's killed in the line of duty. The unremarried surviving spouse may continue the exemption as long as the firefighter or volunteer had the exemption prior to his death. And then also for unremarried surviving spouse, for the volunteer who passed away while a member, as long as they had 20 years of service in place and had the exemption before they passed, the unremarried surviving spouse would qualify to continue that. And again, at the 10%. So it's a fairly significant exemption, but again, the purpose is to encourage volunteerism. So that's the point of the law. There is also, I guess I would mean to say is that if there's any questions, I'll be available to answer anybody's questions. Does anybody on the board have a question? Yes, Laura.
Yes, I do have a question. Just from anecdotal experience from some of the senior citizens that I know, often when they would come in to apply for this exemption, they would have to bring medical documentation as well as receipts of prescriptions. I see on this document, has that been eliminated?
Yeah, we never did that for the senior low income. That was
Okay.
that was something that had been in the town code for the disability, but we had never gotten any like that. Of the two people who came in with that information last year, they were getting 50% exemption without any further provision. So, showing more deductibility wasn't going to improve their situation, if you will. The problem comes up with that it's very difficult to document. We're supposed to look at, in that case, what's unreimbursed.
I see.
You could talk about trying to simplify things. You're really going to look for a pile of papers then. You'd have to find insurance papers, what was reimbursed, what wasn't reimbursed, what was covered, what was received. It could get pretty complicated. And the goal is not to get into arguments over what was income and what wasn't. It was to try and streamline things.
So a senior that considers themselves lower income or disabled, the best thing to do to ensure that they get this is to come to see you with the 1040 form?
Yeah, just
Is
their
that
income
correct?
tax return.
Just
Yeah,
the income
and it's
tax
actually two separate exemptions. Like, you can't have both.
I see.
So
Okay.
it's either persons with disability and low income, and of course, you don't have to be 65 in that case, or the senior citizens with low income, and that you have to be 65 or older. Okay?
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
So I had a question with respect to the volunteer firefighters and
Yeah.
ambulance corps. So to me, it seems like there's a better incentive now because it's 2 years versus 5.
Yeah, yeah. I know some people thought that perhaps, I've heard from some people that it wasn't a significant service requirement, that, but I think if somebody's going to be in something for at least 2 years, like a volunteer, you know, they've demonstrated a certain level of commitment. And it's not a forever exemption. The chief of each individual department has to give us a roster of active members. So if somebody stops going, they would be dropped from that roster,
Ah, okay.
and hence lose the exemption.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Jim. Anybody in the public have any questions for Jim?
I think we should just formally open the public hearing by vote.
We have a public hearing now.
But I don't know that we voted to publicly open it.
Well, we read the resolution,
Right, but I think we read the resolution, but I don't recall that we took a formal vote to open the public hearing. So,
no, all I'm going to do is close the public hearing with a vote. We don't open with a resolution and close with another resolution.
not a resolution, just saying opening the public hearing usually.
Okay. Does anybody have any question about whether the public hearing was open? Town board understood that?
Again, I'm available for
Okay.
people if they are not here or watching and they want to call with a question. I'm available at the office.
Thank you. Again, if anybody from the public, being that the public hearing is open, if they have any questions for Jim or for the town board, be happy to answer them. Be there no speakers, I would, Resolution 24824 will close this public hearing.
I'd like to say a few words. I don't want to ask any questions. I'd just like to say a few words about
Did-
the
Okay.
adopted or the.
Did you sign in?
I thought our reading the resolution was adequate.
Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, my name is Nicholas Darubis. I live in Valhalla. I am also first lieutenant with the Valhalla Fire Department. I just wanted to rise today to speak my support for changing the tax exemption. Many might not know, but the volunteer service, not only in Westchester, New York, but the whole country, is dying. We're withering away. The old generation is moving out, or they're just unable to respond to calls anymore, and there's not enough people to backfill. And so a new exemption like this, or New York State taking the steps to change these tax exemptions, are just another way, just another benefit to help nurture the volunteer service in New York State. Career service is very expensive. Westchester County, they want to move towards a career service, especially in ambulance, and that's very expensive to taxpayers. Us as volunteers, we love to serve our community. We don't ask for anything in return. So politicians and the government, especially on the state level, handing us exemptions down like this it's a very nice gesture. And like what Jim said, only 2 years. It acts as a vetting service. You know, some people might say, well, 5 years, you don't want people coming in, joining just for the benefits. But after 2 years, you have to go through maybe a semester. It's over 200 hours worth of training to even become a certified firefighter. And like what Jim said, the chief has to provide a letter to the town with the active members, and active members consist of 10% of alarms. So it's not like I could just join off the street and then come on the roster, and then those people then sit on the roster and active for 2 years, and then they'll get the exemption. The chief of the department hopefully will see their attendance and take them off of that list. It's also important that volunteers know that they have to come in and apply within. It's not automatic. And that adding the surviving spouse clause just is an added benefit to not only those who die in the line of duty, but also to older members, to know that they are able to pass on the stability to their surviving spouse. That once they pass away, unfortunately, that their surviving spouse's tax will not go up, unfortunately, because they passed away. So I hope you guys consider passing this new exemption, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
So you know, Thomas McCarthy, Commissioner of the Howell Fire Department. Again, in favor of hopefully you'll pass this bill. I do know that one thing that Lieutenant said there was that the chief would be making sure these people get their adequate points and everything, and I can guarantee you, at least in Valhalla, that there will be no shenanigans, say. It'll be checked by the Board of Fire Commissioners prior to coming to you, and then we do hope you do pass it because of the fact that volunteerism is very low. And we really do need it, and we think we supply a great service that helps cut the taxes in our town, and that's why we do it. You know, I know we get some bad rap sometimes, you know, we all do. Well, you guys do. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll wait till I come over again later. No. But I do appreciate if you'll consider this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board on this? Being there no further speakers, I would entertain a motion to close this public hearing. Resolution 24824.
So moved.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the supervisor's report. The next thing would be the authorization to adopt local law amending Town Code, Chapter 196, to adjust tax benefits for senior citizens, disabled persons, as well as volunteer and ambulance personnel, as was described by Jim Timmons.
I'd like to make the motion for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
There you go.
Thank you all. And a description of this is on the website, and it's also available in Emily's town clerk's office, if anybody wants to read it in depth. It's very interesting. Next item is to call for a public hearing to consider a special permit for the New York City DEP Kensico to Eastview Connection, Westlake Drive. This is the tunnel going from Kensico Reservoir to the UV plant. What do we have for a date?
The next business session is June 25th, Tuesday,
June 25th. That'll be the public hearing. Resolution 250-24 would advertise for a public hearing for June 25th.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, purchase order 144-2401, authorization for a traffic review analysis and assessment for New York Route 9A and New York Route 100, Belmont and West Stevens. We've been talking about this for a little while. We've been waiting for a formal proposal on this. Let's see here. The company is DTS Provident Design Engineering Firm. Total cost for the analysis is $12,400. $400.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is purchase order 1352403, mapping contract with Lero GIS Incorporated for the Assessor's Office. My understanding, this is free of charge. This is a service with the county.
The next one is.
Lyro is our regular mapping contract.
That's a different one.
The other one is the commercial property database.
Okay.
That's free of charge.
Yeah, this one here is $13,133. That's not exactly free.
I'll move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I think, Jim, this is the next one here is Commercial Property Data House Warehouse, TREP Incorporated. It's an agreement with Town of Mount Pleasant and Westchester County, joint Westchester County funded contract for a data warehouse providing commercial property operations data, income and expenses, as well as leases. It just gives you a basis, a little bit easier for you to do assessments.
Right. And defending the assessments.
Okay. So this resolution will approve the Town of Mount Pleasant working with Westchester County on this, as they call it, third-party commercial property data warehouse, TREP Incorporated.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to approve a sewer easement agreement for 561 Manhattan Avenue. Find this. Oh, great.
In my computer.
Just close. Authorization to approve the attached sewer easement agreement for 561 Manhattan Avenue. This agreement will allow the town to adequate room to work on the town's sewer line if necessary. This is a line that just happened to be too close to the house and not enough room if you had to get a machine in there. So this easement will allow the town to get in there and work on the sewer line if it had to be worked on. So Resolution 25424 will approve this easement that was designed by our engineering department.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to appoint Anthony Lohay to the Library Board of Trustees effective June 12, 2024. We'd like to thank Anthony for coming forward and offering his service to assist the Library Board. Anthony's not here today now. Anthony lives on Eastfield Drive in Valhalla. Resolution 25524 will approve his appointment.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Anthony Lohay to the Library Board.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is our investment report. The interest on our monies is 4.75%. Now we move on to business from the floor. Anyone here want to address the board at any topic relating to the town is welcome to do so at this time. No.
And this is just for informational basis, if you can. Approximately, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago, I had the honors, Lori showed me a big plan of beautifying Valhalla. I don't know if that's still on the table or getting done or when it might get done,
It is, yes.
right? And the other one was the Legion Drive Bridge. That needs some attention. Now, in 1982, we had a fire on that bridge, a gas truck fire, and none of that damage has ever been repaired. And also now the rest of the stone on that bridge is all bulging out with weeds growing through it and everything, and every year it gets progressively worse. And I was just bringing that to your attention because I don't see the highway superintendent here to bring it to his.
That's the Legion Drive
Yes,
Bridge?
on the bridge. All right. And is there any value to approaching the county? Because I know Legislator Kunzio had brought it to up once about having sidewalks from Valhalla High School all the way up to the Roseville Shopping Center. It was on their agenda at one time and then it was taken off. I don't know if it's worth our while, but I see a lot of people walk Columbus Avenue these days. You know, not so much me, but you know, a lot of people there, and it's, you know, with the school, I just wanted to bring it to your attention again. Thank you.
One of the issues with sidewalks, everybody would like to have them. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to maintain them.
Oh,
Technically, when you
well,
put a sidewalk.
even the
in-
ones on Columbus Avenue are all uprooting and everything, those little blacktop ones are there for,
Yeah.
I think they put them in before I went to school. I'm old. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom.
Anyone else wish to address the board? You already spoke.
Yeah, not to be redundant, but yeah. We got to fill the room somehow. One thing I forgot to mention before, I don't want to repeat myself, but I actually just got an email about this, so I apologize for not doing my due diligence or any research on it. But the State Assembly and the State Senate just passed legislation pending the governor's signature that volunteer firefighters who live in one municipality but volunteer in another are also eligible for the volunteer tax exemption within the municipality that they live in. So if you have a volunteer, let's say, in Fairview who lives in Greenberg, or in Fairview, even though their career, they have specifics don't matter in that sense, but they live in the town of Mount Pleasant, they would also be eligible. We have members, and this is a problem for the town of Greenberg, not town of Mount Pleasant, but we have members who live in Greenberg who are ineligible for any exemptions, even though they might be in the Valhalla School District. They're not in the town of Mount Pleasant, so town of Greenberg likes to make it a little hard for them to receive the school. But if, let's say, Greenberg would adopt this new law, they would get the 10% in Greenberg. So I would just urge the board.
They would have to file with Greenberg. No.
Yes. I'm just kind of saying, if that were to happen in Mount Pleasant, like if you had somebody who volunteers for the village of Pleasantville, but they live in the town of Mount Pleasant, pay Mount Pleasant taxes, they would get that 10% exemption for Mount Pleasant town tax, even though they volunteer for the village of Pleasantville, or the village of Briarcliff, or Ossining, or Sleepy Hollow. You know, we have a couple areas in town that what volunteer service does is they allow volunteer members for right outside of their district. So one adjacent to any further than that, it would be a special exemption, but generally it's one district outside of theirs that they accept members from. And usually sometimes it's outside of their municipality, and they are then exempt from every benefit because they don't live in their district or they don't live in the municipality which they serve. So I would just urge the board to then look into this new legislation once it's signed by the governor to further enhance the benefits for volunteers. Thank you.
This is why we wanted, Jim's idea was that everybody in the state followed the same thing. It made it a lot easier. We were waiting for the county and the schools to approve it also, because you can't have one without the other.
We do have volunteers that don't live in town. Main thing was bringing it up. And they do a good service for us.
Sir? Anybody else wish to address the board? So we'll move on to our town clerk's report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, everybody. Town Clerk's Report, Town Board Meeting, June 11th, 2024. Public hearing for proposed local law amending Town Code Chapter 196 to adjust tax benefits for senior citizens, disabled persons, and volunteer fire and ambulance personnel. Received and filed 3 Planning Board resolutions for 9 Skyline Drive site plan approval, 200 Lake Road amended site plan approval, and 200 Lake Road steep slope permit, and received and filed 4 zoning board resolutions for Caesar Padilla, Carol Pachelski, Julio Rizzo, and Maria and Roberto Molina.
Thank you. Moving on to council reports. Councilman? Yeah, that's all it was the interest, 4.75%. Council reports, Councilman Saliano?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My report is from the Police Department. We have a couple POs for you this evening. The first one is a purchase order 30-24-19 training curriculum subscription. The vendor is Daggle Law Group, LLC. The unit cost is $6,700. I move for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I thank you. Mr. Supervisor, the second order is a purchase order 30-24-20 taser maintenance for the police department. The vendor is Axon Enterprises Incorporated. Again, it's for a PD. This is the final payment due to a 5-year maintenance agreement for taser repair. The total cost is $1,660. I respectfully ask for motion of approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I thank you. Have an excellent evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zana.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, fellow board members, residents of Mount Pleasant. My report comes from our Highway Department. My first item is Resolution 259-24. This is authorization to deposit bond for curb cut permit 1508. A check has been forwarded to the Office of Comptroller for deposit in the escrow account until the work being performed under the bond is completed and the road restored to the satisfaction of the Superintendent of Highways. Name is Michelle Baker. Bond amount is $570. This is for Sunset Drive off of Nanahagan. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second?
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
My next item is for another deposit for street opening permit number 6441. A check covering the bond amount for the street opening permit has been forwarded to the Office of the Comptroller for deposit. It will remain in the escrow account until the work being performed has been completed and the road restored to the satisfaction of the Superintendent of Highways. Again, that street opening permit number is 6441. The name is NAR Contracting. Bond amount is $20,000, and the work is being performed at 26 Legion Drive in Valhalla. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
My next item, again from Highways, Resolution 261-24. This is requesting authorization to hire Kevin Oliveris Sagastum of Valhalla as a full-time road maintainer for the Highway Department. His salary will be based on the current union agreement. If approved, pending a physical exam and pre-employment drug test, his employment will become effective Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
My last item, Resolution 262-24. is authorization to hire Michael Clifford of Carmel as a seasonal employee in the Highway Department at a rate of $21 per hour. If approved, his employment will become effective Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Councilman Saraceno.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I have notes from the Comptroller's Office this evening. Resolution 263-24 is the Comptroller's memo. Start with expenditures out of the Comptroller's Office for a May 23rd meeting at the WCMCTA. Charges $40. In the Town Clerk's Office, we have 3 cartons of security paper with shipping, in addition to a repair of an IBM typewriter. Not a typewriter as you could imagine, but totaling for the Town Clerk's Office $1,347.40. Attorney fees, there's a number of them in relation to numerous issues that the town has been in civil disputes with, in addition to general counsel and some tax issues as well, totaling $49,415.87. At the Town Hall building, renewal for Laserfiche MRI for the year beginning July 16, 2024 through July 15, 2025. This is a program that is used to enhance business process automation throughout the Town Hall. This charge is $3,601.50. That's for the 1-year renewal. Also, a copy machine service agreement for the year as well, from June of this year through June of next year, totaling $2,015.13 for total town hall expenses of $5,616.63. Special consulting services, payments made to Thompson and Bender for a retainer payment of $2,000, and a print mail for the, which I think I just received mine, for the tax year 2023 for $747.50. Superintendent of Highways has an expenditure going out for an insurance policy to insurance broker Eva Gonzalez for a new piece of equipment, a John Deere excavator. That premium payment is $2,237. Cleaning of all 3 train station parking lots. We did 5 cleanings in May, totaling $1,250. Elevator inspections as part of safety for buildings, totaling $1,990. In the Parks Department, we had a troubleshoot and repair service done on stadium lighting for $3,999.71, in addition to a flood insurance renewal, which will carry through the end of July of 2025, July 23rd to be exact. That's at 52 Garrigan Avenue, which is the American Legion building down by the Water District. And that is a total for parks of $8,851.71. Adult programs with recreation, we have Zumba classes for both babies and adults for $1,539. In addition to umpires for our spring softball league for 46 games. That payment will be $3,668. At the town pool, we have various items, including chemicals, lifeguard swimsuits, female swimsuits, and a water slide pump as well, totaling $6,333.87. Allocation for the Zumba classes going to the youth programs, split from the adult programs, is $2,016. We have payments for capital building improvements, such as energy upgrades for windows and doors, which was a major project that was undertaken at Town Hall, spearheaded or facilitated by our building inspector, Sal Pinelli. He did an excellent job doing this. That payment for the windows and doors, which should see significant energy cost decreases, but the payment for this was $106,257.50, and another payment for $25,500 per the contract for Arrow Steel Window Corp. We also had a valve closure for a heater enclosure piece for Granger, paid to Granger for $4,982.11, totaling for capital buildings and improvements for $136,739.61. Kensico Capital Projects, a glass calibration column, which was paid for $2,784, and a payment made to Jesco Equipment, Jesco Inc. for a 2024 John Deere 245P excavator, which should certainly come in handy, for $335,403. Large item. John Deere's typically last almost forever, so that's a win-win. Mount Pleasant Consolidated Sewer District, pump station cleanings for $4,036, and then for our electric charging stations, the final stages, payments of $1,088. Benfield Electric supply payments were made to Benfield for conduit cable ties and wire lock nuts as well, totaling for the Consolidated Sewer District $5,839.44. The Joint Water District Fund is paying the printing of and mailing of documents going out to all water districts in town. That payment is $1,342. Charging station allocation to the Joint Water District Fund will be $1,632. More electrical parts in addition to postage for the mailings, all in for Joint Water District Fund totaling $6,051.89. Mechanical Water District has a payment allocated of $3,731.76 for supplies and certain parts and products for the Water District. In our trusted agency escrow fund payments, Cleary Consulting is receiving all the items for this meeting, and that's $3,150. And then in the gifts and donations basket, we have the military tribute banner payment for the banners, totaling $873. And just to reiterate, those banners are paid for by residents. That reimburses that cost to the town. Grand total of this week's comptroller memo is $581,625.68. I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all. Have a nice evening.
Councilwoman Smalley.
Good evening. My report is from Parks and Recreation. It's easy tonight to go last because I only have two things. The first item is purchase order 70-24-44. The vendor is Harlem Wizards of Fairfield Road in Fairfield, New Jersey, believe it or not. And this is for entertainment at one of the day camps. The total cost is $3,500. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is purchase order 70-24-45. The vendor is Argento & Son, 1 Prospect Avenue in White Plains. It is to be delivered to Parks and Rec. It's 1 Honda generator. The total cost is $2,599. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second?
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Just a reminder, the pool is now open, and the hours will be extended at the end of June. We're also looking for additional day camp counselors. Anyone interested, please call the Recreation Department at 914-742-2310. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't have anything for the town attorney this evening. Moving on to our schedule of meetings, the next work session, Tuesday, June 18th at 7 p.m. Next business session will be Tuesday, June 25th at 7 p.m. And if there be no further comments from the board, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Danielle. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Good night.